Now then, 2,000 more people are expected to join the climate protest camp near Heathrow Airport this weekend. The campaigners are angry at the expansion of the airport because of the apparent environmental impact.
Well, according to the UN, carbon dioxide and water vapour emitted at altitude are 4 times more potent than at sea level.
It's estimated each passenger on a flight from London to Sydney creates 1.9 tonnes of greenhouse gases.
Passenger numbers are expected to grow at 5% a year. By 2050, aviation will be responsible for 6% of all carbon emissions.
But the aviation industry argues it contributes more than £11 billion to the UK economy every year, and it supports more than 500,000 jobs in the UK, either directly or indirectly.
And the aviation industry says emissions trading is a far more effective way of lessening the impact on the environment.
We're joined now from Glasgow by the former Labour Minister Brian Wilson. He's the chairman of Flying Matters. It's an umbrella group that represents the aviation and tourism business communities. Hello to you, sir. Do you believe any of the claims made by the protesters?
Well, I believe entirely the outline that you have given there, which is based largely on the Stern report and Flying Matters, which also incidentally involves trade unions, because there are 700,000 jobs involved in this, and consumer organisations, because there's literally millions of consumers who are involved in this. There's no interest in denial. It's about the most effective way of tackling these issues.
Yeah, but I suppose your critics would say that's simply an economic defence of an environmental catastrophe.
No, it's not, and it mustn't be. That there has to be a recognition of the environmental responsibilities, but of course making politically undeliverable demands, such as stopping people flying, taking their annual holiday and so on, or pricing low-income people out of the market. No government can or should do any of these things, and therefore if you're actually going to make environmental progress, then you have to look for other strategies. Emissions trading is one, and absolutely as important, and something that Britain can really do something on a global basis about, is the technological advance. We have the absolute top-of-the-range engineering companies which can reduce the emissions from aircraft and thereby lessen the impact. Now, these are practical ways of approaching the issues. Saying to people that they can't fly is not a practical way of approaching the issue.
Mr Wilson, just as we're talking, by the way, we've put in a box on the screen, the pictures from Newquay coming in live from the fire that's happened there, so that's just to explain to viewers what's going on. There is, though, quite a fundamental debate about saying to people, this is the damage that flying causes, perhaps it's time to fly a bit less.
Well, I think that is a decision that people should be addressed with, and they should make their judgment on a range of factors, including practicality. For instance, not everybody lives in London, and sometimes you have to fly to get to somewhere that you can travel by other means from. And I have no problem with that at all. But what I'm absolutely sure of is that this range of people, the kind of people I used to represent politically, who have been liberated, who are able now to take annual holidays abroad at affordable prices and so on, that the idea that in the name of sort of environmental kind of ultra environmental stance that they should be denied that right is just. It's just wrong, but it's also politically undeliverable.
I could say to you in the name of the planet, rather than ultra-environmentalism.
Well, you could say that, but you have to maintain a sense of perspective. And again, what environmental groups tend to do is they focus on one. It's almost a fad. It's aviation at the present time. A few years ago, that there was, when we were talking about the fuel duty escalator. And of course, what the government did, which I was part of at that time, which was 3% above the rate of inflation. And, everyone said, oh, that's grossly inadequate, does no good, kind of very inadequate approach. And then the moment there was a whiff of grape shot, of course, that the same people who'd been saying that were saying, abandon the fuel duty escalator. So by making ultra demands, you actually deliver nothing for the environment, whereas by things that people can cooperate on, people can deliver, the industry can deliver, consumers can consent to, then you can make environmental progress, and that is what I advocate.
Good to talk to you, Brian Wilson. Thank you.